Okay, today we're going to be looking at watercolour painting, and what I'm doing here is I'm using the three primary colours, red, yellow and blue, to make a series of browns going from darker to light, which will give us a kind of one tone chromatic range. So we're going to start by doing the darkest, so we're going to have lots and lots of blue and red, and we're going to produce a range of different watercolour tones. We're not going to use colour at the moment, we've just got to look at establishing the darkest ranges. So as you can see here, mixing the three together, and producing a really dark range here at the top, gradually getting lighter. So in getting lighter, obviously we add more water to the images. Let's just beam in a little bit here. As you can see, I'm gradually going to take away the water here is added, so the range obviously becomes lighter as we go across. See here? We can always adjust and go back, adding more blue, red and yellow. You can see I'm taking away and adding more water. So in a sense we're diluting, even taking away some of the water with my hand here. Eventually we find that we've literally got the white of the paper here. We can add another one here to leave that completely white. Again, taking away some of the water there. And basically I can add some stronger tone here, red, yellow and blue, to the first areas. Again, a little bit dark, so we've got that really great kind of vibrant range there to work from. I'm going to beam in a little bit more. See the range there? Nice and strong. Slightly beam out, and what I'm going to do now is to use the tone range that I've created, and I can number them, if so be. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, I'll put it 12 or 13 here. And what I'm going to do now is work on the face of the girl. And what I tend to do is start off by lightly adding possibly a medium tone, 5 or even a 6, just to get the actual outline of the girl's face. So I'm roughly going to put in the eyelid here, nice and light, just to establish the areas. Obviously in the last few lessons we've been looking at contour lines, and obviously I'm going to adhere to those. But very important to just establish first of all where the areas are, lightly. If you do it too dark, it could be an issue, because if you make a mistake, in watercolour paint it's very difficult to go back over some area which is dark. So I'm putting both of the eyes in here, just establishing where they are. Obviously making sure that I'm following the three-dimensional form, using the block contour lines which we've learned about in the previous lessons. Other eye put in here. Now it's very important when you use watercolour to remember that the lightest parts, lightest areas of the pupils here are left white. So we don't touch those, we leave those white of the paper. Again, you can see I'm just putting the medium tone in here. Establishing where the eyebrow goes here. Following the form. You see I'm using the brush, I'm not afraid to follow the three-dimensional form using contour block lines. So this will go in this direction, as you can see here. Direction of the nose. You can see it comes inside here, as we learned in the last few lessons, and we can use some blocks here to follow the form, going around this way, here, and down again this way. So I'm beaming here, light areas being scrutinised here. And then what we can do is begin to add some of the darker tones, but only when the paint, the watercolour paint, is secure and dried. If you work wet on wet, it tends to bleed a lot, so avoid doing that. So now what we're going to do is use some of the darker tones. Now we've established the medium range, for instance pupil, so we can start to beam in here and look at painting the pupil in there, nice and dark, see there. And some of the areas come inside near the edge of the pupil, the actual outline of the eyebrow as well, establishing that. You can be quite ruthless, make this as dark as possible. So you've got the range, you've got the lightest area in there already, which is the highlight of the pupil, which we haven't touched and left as a white of the paper. Very important to do that because that will give you the highlights. I'm putting the darker area on here, and then you can start looking at the nose area, following the form again. I'm following that in three-dimensional way. I'm not worried about making things flat. I'm trying to follow the contour lines. That's what we've been doing. So dark areas are put in here. And don't be afraid to work quite, work the areas with the eye as well. So we're going to actually colour the eye in here. Again, using the range, you can always go back and slightly make the pupil darker, but the middle range has been established. This is a mid-dark range we put in here, so automatically you can see that form's been created. Again, I'm adding, making things darker because I've put the initial tone on a little bit lighter, which gives me the license to make things much darker. Again, using the tones, the higher range tones in watercolour, I can start now again to establish all dark areas, like the lips here. we just beam into the lips. I'm just going to make sure that move straight in there. Again, leaving the white highlight. And going back to the pupil again, now the paint's dried, slightly heightening the darks on there, gradually building up, as you can see. Adding tones and building up the form. Now if there's a mistake and you want to kind of take away paint, you can always use the brush, wipe down the area here, like so, take away the water from the brush and just remove any unwanted areas like we've done there. So for the remainder of the demonstration, I'm going to be working on using that range, obviously keeping the white paper where the highlights are, not touching that, and gradually building the range into the final piece.